How hard is it to make a dirty bomb? Consider this. In the former Soviet Republic of Georgia, we were told that you could buy enough radioactive material to make a dirty bomb for just $10,000. Not only that, you can find radioactive material almost anywhere in that country, unchecked and dangerously unsafe. Our first topic tonight, terrorism. One of the dirty little secrets about terrorism is that it does not take much radioactive material to make a so-called dirty bomb. And there's plenty of that material in Georgia. Not the Georgia you know, but the Georgia that used to be part of the Soviet Union. During a year-long investigation, we found that radioactive material just keeps turning up in Georgia on military bases, in the woods, outside apartment buildings. It's not difficult to find, and we learned not difficult to transport either. Georgia, now an independent country, was known for decades as a lawless, corrupt place. And now terrorism has become a major challenge for the smart, energetic new president of the country. He was educated in the United States, and his name is Mikhail Saakashvili.
Terrorism is a very valid concern for everybody.
Are you still concerned? Are you concerned now with the possibility of terrorists getting a hold of some of these radioactive materials?
We still have certain signs that we should be concerned, and because terrorists are getting more sophisticated, and sometimes they could be much more sophisticated than the state.
But listen to what happened to this man, and you realize that in Georgia, terrorists don't have to be very sophisticated to find and transport enough radioactive material to make a dirty bomb. His name is Tomas, and he's been driving his beat-up taxi in the capital of Tbilisi for more than 30 years. Last year, Tomas says 2 customers told him to drive to the train station, then asked him to make a detour to go up this hill. Where the hell are they taking me? Tomas said he wondered. Then they had him stop and load some very heavy boxes into his trunk. On the way back down the hill, the police pulled him over, but only because the cab was so weighted down in the back. I got out of the car, Tomas told us, and showed the officer my license. Then he asked me to open the trunk. I almost fainted, he said, when I saw what was inside. These pictures, taken after Tomas was stopped, show what was in his trunk. Heavy boxes lined with lead and stamped with radiation symbols. Inside were 2 kinds of radioactive material, sealed canisters of cesium-137 and strontium-90, and some poisonous gas. There are reports the materials were being transported to the Turkish border.
The concern is that this stuff might end up in the hands of terrorists.
Gela Bezvasvili is Georgia's national security advisor.
You think that this is not a threat? This is a real threat, that any terrorist group can find this stuff, take it, explode it either in Georgia or anywhere else.
Long before 9/11, mountainous Georgia was known as a place where terrorists could easily hide. It has a rich, centuries-old culture and heritage, but it's in a dangerous part of the world. Chechnya is just across the border, and Russia, which is just over there by the snowy mountain peaks, has dumped or left all kinds of dangerous materials here that are difficult to keep secure, and not just radioactive materials, as the director of this research facility showed us in Tbilisi. Because the facility did not look very secure, we won't tell you where it is. At the end of a dimly lit hall, there's a small room with several refrigerators packed with deadly pathogens and diseases.
One refrigerator is from collection of anthrax, another from plague, another from tularemia, another from botulism.
The anthrax and plague and botulism and lots of radioactive materials were all left behind by the Russians when they departed in the 1990s following the collapse of the Soviet Union. The Russians abandoned the materials at about 150 military bases without telling or warning anybody, and they didn't leave a cleanup fund. Are you getting any help from the Russians?
We didn't get much cooperation on those issues from the Russians. Unfortunately, all the Russian military bases, they left the country without proper agreements on how those things should have been handled. It was a rather chaotic process.
It was so chaotic that no one had any idea what the Russians had dumped here until 1997. That's when a dozen Georgian soldiers accidentally picked up capsules of cesium-137 at a military base. Most of them received severe radioactive burns. In 1998 and 1999, radioactive strontium-90, used by the Russians in an airline navigation system, were found in a remote mountain village. With no biohazard suits available, Georgian authorities did their best to remove the material safely. Then, near this apartment building in Tbilisi, more cesium-137 was found just lying on the ground.